Don Industrialani back for part 2 of our mustache styling video. And today, I think we're going to style up with BSC Enterprises Signature Series Sean's Gunslinger. Awesome wax. Nice thing about these waxes too is that you can mix and match them. You can combine them with other waxes. Really feel free to try that and have fun with it. This has a rosin base, and so I just works better for me and for my mustache, and it's fairly easy to apply. So we're going to go with that. One thing I want to do before I actually start applying the wax is just kind of go through a couple styling techniques that we talked about in part 1. My brush that needs to be cleaned really bad, but that's what happens when you got wax in the stash. Recall that I used a couple different brush techniques. One is behind it and curl back like that. That brings it back to your cheek. The other one was go like this and kind of pull, and that just kind of brings them all together like this. The other one that you may have seen me use, but I didn't discuss, is this one, where it's kind of a front to back on top versus behind. So I wanted to mention that. The other thing I'll mention is you notice the size of this brush. I had to get a bigger diameter brush once my stash started growing out. I started with this one, so it's still okay. I could still do it all with that, but I can get more hairs in there and a larger curl with this one. So use the brush size that's appropriate for the length of your stash. And then, of course, there's rollers as well, but I won't get into that today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start styling up with Sean's wax. Great. I think this is like a gunpowder scent, so really good. You can see that it's coming out fairly easy, and this can certainly be applied without any heat. However, as you've heard me say before, I like to get a little heat in there, at least for the initial applications, just so I'm not pulling the hairs as much. For this application, I will not be using the cool button. I will actually use the heat. So spread it on the fingers, get it nice and soft, and then work it from the middle out, like that. All right, now I'm going to stop it here, because one thing you'll notice that I'm doing is I'm holding my fingers, I'm holding the stash between my fingers like this, and pulling it back and towards my cheek. So that is the basic motion, like that. What that does is it gets the basic curl, plus it pulls it back towards my cheek. So we're going to do that one more time. And then while I'm doing the other side, we'll let that side set up, because as it heats up, it changes the consistency of the wax. So you want to give it time to firm up before you do that final styling. So I'm going to go ahead and I take a good amount based on the length of my stash. Now this time you notice I didn't put any heat on it, just to show you that it's not really needed, but I already had one layer in there, so it wasn't critical. I'll be a little closer there. So pull fingers on both sides. So I'm coating the back of my stash as well and pulling all those hairs together. Then what I like to do is take a comb gently now, because that stuff can really firm up. Kind of get it in there. Okay, so part of the discussion that I've seen with regards to questions on my stash was how do I get the big curls? So that's really what I want to address today. So you notice that, a lot of guys, they kind of pinch it in up here. To get that thin handlebar look. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's an awesome style. And you can leave it open curled or closed curled, just depending on your mustache and the consistency of the wax. Obviously, the harder the wax, the more you can curl it. I know Bob tucks it behind his stash like that, to kind of give it a hold. Also, make sure you're cleaning your fingers of any wax residue, because your mustache will stick to that. So that is, how a lot of guys do their stash. And again, that's kind of the classic style. But I've created a style. Let me straighten the camera here. I've created a style that I call the duster. And the duster is not this tight loop. It's the brushed back look. And in fact, the longer it gets, the more I can kind of do it up towards my eyes, almost like a, the Phoenix, the Phoenix wings coming up. That's actually one of my favorite styles. So how do I get that? So what I do is I'll get my brush and I got to apply some heat. So you'll notice these same brush strokes, and now I got wax in there. And then we're going to go back and up. Okay, so you see the difference? So now we got this big, broad stash that is not, I just call it more of a brush style versus a closed loop style. And you can bring that out. See, I'm still getting some wax in there, so let me comb that out some more. Okay, there you go. Now I could close that more. As the wax hardens, this loop will actually curve in a little more, but it's a more of a natural style, but with the hold of the wax. So that's how I achieve that. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side now, and I'll be back when I'm done. Hang in there. All right, so we're back, and I'm sporting my new latest shirt that was sent to me by Salty Souls Maui. Awesome company. Check them out. But we are styled up. You'll notice that I have more of the tighter curls right now, and that was intentional. For me, because my mustache is blonde and graying and older, it tends to have more hair, kinky hair, and harder to control. So I really have to kind of plaster it down to take care of some of those flyaway hairs, and it's just kind of the thing that I struggle with most with my mustache. But what I want to do is, the nice thing, the beauty of a rosin-based wax, like the one I used for Sean's Gunslinger, Bob and Elliott's mustache wax, the pecan sticky bun wax. Those types of waxes from even Troy's wax from BSC Enterprises has rosin in it, and it's very easy to manipulate after it's in. So what I want to do is kind of a final step is run a comb through it just to kind of show you how that can work. See how that just runs through, and this is set up already, so it is as firm as it's going to be. But you can see how I get that brush style that we talked about after it's been applied. And yeah, and so when I do the brush style too, I don't have to worry about flyaway hairs as much either. So you see how that curl just popped right back into place there. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll take this finger, I'll just take it behind the stash and go like that, just to kind of work some of those back hairs back into it so it's less flyaway. And that's it. A pro tip that some of you may already know about is if you want to just really lock this in, cement it down, great product is the Got to be glued freeze spray. You can just, kind of cover your eyes and do that. And it will lock it. If you just say, hey, boy, I love what I came up with today, just want to lock that in for the day. Obviously, it will have less flexibility, less moldability, in terms of maintaining it throughout the day. But it is an option if you want to do that. Now, I will carry my comb around me, carry my comb with me throughout the day, and refresh this occasionally. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I'm still learning this myself, so I appreciate those who have been doing this for a while and have also been sharing their tips for styling and maintenance and products. And for those who support me and for the Stash community, thank you. If you have any comments or tips or questions, post them and let me know. I love to hear from you. Take care. God bless.